Hello friends, welcome back to the basement and Happy New Year. As of filming this, it's not quite the new year, but by the time you see this, it will be 2026. So Happy New Year. Hope you all had a wonderful holiday. And I also want to just say thank you to everyone that left some really nice comments on my last video wishing me happy holidays. We had a really nice Christmas. So one little housekeeping note, I have decided to change the name of this channel to Casey Makes a Home. I originally started this channel with the name Pattern Scout Home because Pattern Scout was the name of my other channel, and I was like, okay, people that know me from that channel, they may find this channel. I don't think that was the best idea, having two channels with similar names, like very similar names. So I kind of wanted to create a little bit more distinction between the two channels. So now this one's going to be called Casey Makes a Home, but other than that, everything else is going to be exactly the same. And if you're worried you might forget the name and not see these videos, be sure to subscribe and hit the little bell icon, shameless plug, so you'll be notified when I release new videos in the future. So if you are new here, my name is Casey, and my husband Alan and I have been working on renovating our fixer-upper for the last 1.5 years. And since this past fall, we've been working on the basement. And before the holiday break, I spent some time getting this area ready for paint, kind of prepping all of the surfaces for paint. But before we paint, I want to build some cabinets in here. So I'm gonna have 2 sets of built-in cabinets. I'm gonna have one set over here on this wall where we're gonna have an entertainment center. I'm gonna have kind of a cabinet in this corner over here that's going to provide access to some plumbing that we wanna keep access to. And then over here in the sewing room side, I'm gonna have a counter along this wall with a couple of storage cabinets, and then I'm gonna have some shelving above this on either side of this window. So I think I'm actually gonna start with the built-ins over in the kind of rec room slash seating area side first. So I'm gonna be building the cabinets from scratch. I have done cabinetry before. I did all of the kitchen cabinets upstairs and our kitchen island. So I've learned a lot through both of those projects. Now I had considered doing an IKEA hack style cabinet, but the thing with IKEA cabinets, they look really nice and they are a great option if you are not interested in building your own cabinetry, but they're not gonna be solid wood, and a lot of them are not as easy to paint. And obviously I can't customize them, you know, exactly to the dimensions that I want. I kind of have to work with what they have. But I did look into that, and the price difference was close. It's probably a little bit cheaper to build them myself, but on top of that, I feel like the quality is just a little bit better. I'm getting a solid wood product, and I have a little bit more control over the custom dimensions that I need for the space. So that's why I'm gonna be doing this all myself. And I've been modeling everything in SketchUp. This is just a really, I feel like, approachable 3D software. You can get it online for free. And I've been working through this entire project in SketchUp as I go along and kind of refining my SketchUp model. But that's just kind of a starting point. And it always helps me to still kind of draft everything out by hand. I don't know, there's something about writing it down and drawing it out by hand that kind of helps it really stick in my mind. So that's been my approach for designing all of this cabinetry. So I'm gonna have basically 4 sections. I'm gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, and all of these are gonna be about 32.5 inches wide. So I'm just gonna make 4 separate boxes that are 32.5 inches wide. I'm gonna be doing them 20 inches deep, and the finished height that I want on these cabinets is around 30 inches. So when I take into account the toe kick and the top that I'm gonna put on, it comes out to about 25 3/4. So I'm just gonna round up to 26. So it'll be about 30 1/4 inches. And that'll just kind of keep my measurements kind of round and a little easier to remember to cut. Now, if you have been here for a little while, this space may look familiar to you. This is our all seasons room or Michigan room or sunroom on the back of the house. And I used to do all of my cutting in here, and I vowed that I wasn't gonna do any more cutting in this space. I was gonna start cutting in our pole barn. We're currently having a little bit of a winter storm, so going in and out, walking through the snow is just really not the best option right now. So I'm gonna be cutting in here, but the only thing I'm gonna be cutting is kind of the big plywood sheet goods just to get them down to size, and I'll probably do the rest of the assembly and everything in the actual basement. So I've got my little sawhorse table grid thing here that I made last year. And this has been great for cutting. So I'm gonna put that together. There we go. Ooh, first cut. "26 inches tall." One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. Okay, that's all the side pieces. Now I need to cut the bottom panel, so I'll have 4 total of those, and that's going to be 20 inches deep by 32, well, actually be 31 inches wide, because overall that takes into account the plywood on either side, which makes up about 1.5 inches with 2 pieces of 3/4 inch plywood. So 31 inches by 20 inches. Let me mark that on here because I've got it listed as 32.5. Just want to make sure, because I want the piece to be 31 inches. Okay. I have this scrap left over, and I'm going to use this for some of the blocking in the cabinets. And I just want to trim it in half because I don't really need it to be this wide. So I'm going to trim this in half, and then I can chop that down on my miter saw to size. I guess I'll go ahead and do the other one as well. Gorgeous. The only annoying thing about working in the sunroom is that I have to walk through the house to get down to the basement. I mean, I could walk around, but then I'd be walking in the snow covered in sawdust. So I just kind of have to accept that I'm going to have to clean up some sawdust in the house. Also does not help that these steps are not to code. This is another project we're going to be doing, is regrading, or whatever you want to call it, the steps, because they are very steep. We've been here 1.5 years and I'm still not used to them. And I'll just cut these down to 31 inches to match the width that I need for the interior. So I'm going to be attaching these with pocket hole screws. So I've got my Kreg pocket hole jig here, and I'm just going to prep all my pieces and put some holes in the ends. I'm going to start with these pieces. These are like little stretchers that kind of add support to the corners of the cabinet, like the top and the back corner. And then it also gives you something to attach the cabinet to the studs in the wall. So this, just slip it right in there. Flip it over and do the other side. Just like that. Now we can start assembling. This is my cutting table for my sewing room. Well, part of it, the top. But I'm gonna lay this down just so I have a nice even flat surface to build the cabinets on. I think it'll just make it a little easier to get everything square. Because even though we did a little bit of self-leveling concrete in here, there's still a few little uneven spots, so this will just make my life a little bit easier. So all I have to do now is, this is the bottom piece, and I want the pocket holes to be on the bottom of the cabinet so that they don't show when the cabinet's open. So they'll be basically facing the floor. Yeah, and then side piece and some corner clamps. I just want to get this nice and even here. And I'll be using these Kreg screws to put it all together. I'm going to flip that over and corner clamp the other side carefully. And I'm not gluing these. I didn't glue my kitchen cabinets and they're holding up just fine. But the way I see it is these are going to be attached to the wall and screwed into the wall. They ain't going nowhere. So if this was a piece of furniture, I might glue it, although I didn't glue our island. Something that was gonna get moved around a lot, I might glue it and screw it. But for cabinets, wall cabinets, I don't do the glue. I just don't think gluing is always absolutely necessary. It does make them stronger, don't get me wrong, but they'll be pretty strong even without it. And we'll flip this over and put these stretchers on the top and the back. So I want to pick the side that has the most flush finish as the front. So this will be the back here. I do that 3 more times. All right, it's the next day and I'm ready to start building the toe kick for these cabinets. Now, I don't know if it's called a toe kick if it's flush with the front of the cabinet, but basically I want to lift the cabinets up off of the concrete, and I'm going to be using treated lumber for that little platform that I'm gonna build, because it's gonna be sitting on concrete, and just in case there's ever any moisture transfer, the treated lumber will keep it from rotting the wood. So that is the plan. And it'll also make leveling the cabinets a little bit easier if I have one big frame underneath, and I'll just level that, and then when I set these boxes on top, they'll probably be level because they're sitting on a level piece. So. let's do a little dry fit. Pretty darn good. Nice. Okay. So you can see that kind of spans over some of the unevenness in the concrete floor, and it gives a nice level edge for the cabinets to sit on. I built this so that it was about 3/4 inch proud of the front of the cabinet, because I'm gonna have a face frame here that's gonna be 3/4 inch. That'll make that flush, and then I'll put trim on top of that. So the trim, the base trim of this cabinet, will be 3/4 inch proud of the face frame of the cabinet. So now I just wanna make sure that this frame is level. Yes, yeah, well. Okay, just gonna move that way just a little bit and get some shims. All right, so now I'm ready to put on the top, and I cut this in 3 pieces because this is longer than an 8-foot piece of plywood, obviously. So I cut it where the shelving is gonna end on the top so that it's, you know, a little bit more of a natural spot for it to end instead of doing it right in the center. I'm gonna be filling this and sanding it down and painting it so you'll never see the seam. But anyway, that's why I did it like that, just to kind of make it symmetrical and also hide the seam as much as possible. If it ever does show, it'll kind of line up with the edge of the shelving here. I also made this 3/4 inch deeper than the boxes because I want the edge of this to be 3/4 inch proud of the face frame. So when I put the front on this, I'll have a piece along the front edge, and then once this is all finished, this will look like a thicker countertop. So I'll need to put just a little bit of blocking right here behind here to kind of help support that, and then the face frame will be right below this piece of trim here. I think that's gonna look really nice. Hey babe, I need your help. Alan, I need your help, baby. Baby, I just need you to press on the top of this.
Press down.
Yeah, press down. Ready? You good?
Yeah.
I'm getting so excited about how much storage we're gonna have in here.
I kind of am too, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice. Because what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put all drawers, like big drawers.
Yeah.
They'll have doors.
Big pull-up buckets.
Yeah. I'll have doors on these 2 center pieces, and then on the side, like I'll have doors that when you open up, it'll be pull out door, like platform things. And then I'll have drawers, 3 drawers in each of the end ones. And the top, I'm just have shelves, but it's gonna be nice. And that'll just be like a big closet over there. Okay, ready? Oh, you didn't press down. Ready? Press down hard. Ready? Okay. Okay.
Did it go down? Pull it down all the way and push it up.
Oh, did it? Okay. Ready? How'd that go? Is it better? Okay, good. Okay. I did or you did?
You did.
Well, your job was to press it down so it didn't pop up. Oh, there we go. Now we're cooking with fire. Yeah, just can't get enough. That's probably good enough. I'm gonna start on the shelves today. So I'm just gonna rip down these 2 pieces of plywood into 12-inch wide strips, because that's how deep my shelves are gonna be. And then I'll just cut those to size for each of the shelving pieces. Okay. I think I've inhaled enough sawdust on this project. I'm actually out of masks. Okay, so we're gonna have 2 sections of just open shelving. I have one here on this end and one here on this end. The only difference is I'm going to pull the edge on each end in by 3/4 inch. That'll be covered by trim, and that way the inside of the shelf here, this shelf wall, will be flush with the face frame once I put that on. Let me just draw this out. So we have the ceiling here. I'm gonna try to cut these on my chop saw. Probably have to do 2 cuts, but I wanna be able to cut these down here when I can kind of walk back and forth and measure and cut all that. So I'm gonna just make it work. It doesn't matter if it's perfect because, oh, it looks pretty good actually. This is gonna be hidden anyway. That looks pretty good. Can't even tell. I'm also not going to be using pocket hole screws on these because the way that I'm going to be kind of sandwiching these pieces in between each other, all of the screws are going to be hidden. So I'm just going to edge screw from the sides. So I'm going to use this as a little jig to help get all of my shelves level from this point here. So I have 2 pieces that are 12 inches tall, and then I can set my shelf on top of that. Screw it in from the side. Now I want to make sure that I'm making the front the level kind of flush part, because if there's any discrepancies in the back, that's okay. I can always cover that with caulk and kind of make it look a lot nicer. But having any kind of discrepancies in the front is just going to make attaching the face frame a little bit more difficult. So I want to make sure I pull everything flush to the front. It took me a little bit to kind of figure out exactly how to do this shelf. And it's kind of crazy because this is like a little bit more simple of a thing. But to get everything to line up right and make sure that I get the shelves level, because these are not going to be adjustable shelves. Anyway, I finally figured it out, but it took me a hot minute. I'm just going to mark the center, so I know where to put my lines. Okay. Nice. I've got the rest of the pieces cut for the shelf on the opposite side, and the process is exactly the same. So I also added some little spacers over here just to bring this shelf about 3/4 inch away from the wall, because the face frame is going to cover that, and I wanted to make sure that the face frame was flush with the inside of the shelf as well. So I did that. I also did that on this side. Added the spacers over here too. I'm gonna have a cabinet on this side that butts up against this, but I want the face frame to be here because this cabinet's gonna kind of come out a little bit further and it'll have its own kind of frame system on the front. So anyway, I wanted to make sure I had that face frame that was flush with the inside of the shelves. Now I need to work on this center portion. So this isn't gonna be a shelving portion. It's just gonna be a big frame basically. But that piece is gonna go together exactly the same way that the kind of outer shelf or these shelves went together. It's just two sides and a top, and that'll fit right into this slot here. All right, let me get this thing up. Oh, hang on. Oh, I gotta trim that side. Shoot, took me so long to put that together. Yay. I need to put some bracing in here because it's kind of bowing in the center. I'm just gonna add a little bit of blocking above the shelving. I'll attach that to the studs in the walls, and then I'll attach the top of the shelf to that blocking. I'm gonna try to hide it all behind the guts of the cabinet. I will have some holes from where I put in screws from the bottom, but I will just fill those with putty and paint over them, so you'll never know they're there. I don't like what that did. Nope, I don't like that. Probably should have, I mean, I can always, well, I can't do that now. Probably should have screwed this in at the top before I put the shelf in, because it's kind of giving me some trouble. Let me see if I can make a little jig just to hold it nice and tight. 9 9/16 inch. 9 9/16. Okay, let me do that. Okay, so I'm just gonna slide this in there so it'll hold it up. Because sometimes when you're screwing in these screws, they wanna like pull, like the pieces kind of pull apart. So to have something just kind of keep it from pulling apart. All right, now I want to screw these different pieces together and make sure they're nice and flush along the front here so that when I attach the face frame, everything's really pretty. Again, I'll have some screw holes to fill, but it ain't no thing. All right, it's the next day and I'm gonna work on putting face frames on this cabinet. I have to say, it's been a little bit, it's been a few months since I've done any woodworking projects, and this project is bringing me so much joy. I love doing projects like this. It also is transforming this basement once again, because it's adding a little bit of scale and context to this space, and it's helping me visualize the space even more. So I'm getting really excited about the future of this little area down here and the rest of the basement. I've always enjoyed making things and doing things with my hands and, you know, figuring out how things go together, but I really love these types of projects. And to be totally honest, most of this basement renovation has been kind of grueling. There's been a lot of like gross discoveries and just a lot of work to get it to this point, and a lot of work that felt really slow. But to be able to work on something like this now feels really nice. So now one of the first things I have to do before I attach the face frames, I just want to add a little bit of blocking under here, like a narrow piece, like a 3/4 inch piece, because when I put this top on, because this kind of lip hangs down, there's nothing here to attach the face frame to. So I'm gonna do that really quick. I've got some pieces that I ripped down. I'm just gonna cut those to size and install those, and then I can start putting the face frames on. Pre-drilled some screws in here. I'm just gonna line it up with the edge, the front edge of the cabinet box. So I'm gonna be using 1x2s. These are poplar 1x2s. Is that right? Poplar or birch? Poplar. To create the face frames, this is the same stuff I used on both my kitchen cabinets and my kitchen island. And so I'll just rip this down to size and attach it directly to the cabinet fronts. I'm just gonna add a little bit of blocking on the joists here so that I have something to attach the trim to once I get to that point. But I wanna do that before I put the face frame on, because it's gonna make that space just a little bit tighter to get into. So I've got some scrap wood. This is just like wood that they deliver supplies on, like a little pallet wood, and some blocks. And I'm just gonna space these periodically for blocking. It would have been better to do this before I put the shelves in, but a project's not fun unless you do a few things the hard way, I guess. Okay. Can you just hold this up for me? Oh, I need that level too. Nice level. The whole time I was putting this piece of trim up, I had the camera pointed down. So anyway, got this up. I did kind of make a little bit of mistake lining it up. I had to take it out, and then I had a nail that went haywire, so I've got a little bit more patching to do on this piece, but I think it'll be all right. All the way to the corner there. All the way up. Oh, that's a nice fit. All right. I'm gonna have to piece this last one together because I ran out of stuff. Well, enough stuff to cut one long enough for this last piece. I'll just piece it together and patch it. All right now I'm just gonna go around and fill all the little nail holes and seams. So I'm just using this. Usually it is a bright pink, but it's getting a little dried out. I think I can make it stretch though, so.